It's time to pull those belts tight, race fans. The front stretch is coming at you, presented by Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs. Now, here's Dan Taylor and Dirk Houston.
Well, good morning, race fans, and welcome to the front stretch presented by Joe's Karting at Council Bluffs, online at joeskarting.com. That is karting with the cake. It's Joe's today. It's fast-paced, white-knuckle racing, where the only speed restriction is your ability to go through the corners. Now, with eco-friendly Honda engines. 23rd Avenue in Council Bluffs. You can get them best online, joeskarting.com, karting with a K, or just use that Google machine and find your way down to Council Bluffs in the Metro's fastest indoor karting facility. Got a little bit of a special treat for you today. Dirk's been working hard with some of the Zeitners about putting together a bit of a Zeitner reunion show, I guess. Not really a reunion show. You guys work with each other every day at Zeitner Trucking. But kind of talking a little bit about the history of the Zeitners. You know, we've done this once before with the Kaziskis, so we're kind of expanding out to see the real history of the whole thing, the family of it all, because it's truly is a family thing with our sport. So, Dirk, I'm going to let you kind of run the show for a bit today and kind of take over and take us off with the start of the Zeitner tradition in racing.
The first one of the Zeitners I met at the track was Mel, and I'm going to say roughly 1980, late 70s. Mel, when was that you guys came down?
I think it was 1980.
Right about then?
I moved to Omaha 79, 80, that winter there.
So I was going to say, you guys used to pit next to Rick Holling and I quite a bit, and for a couple of years there. And
that's a long time ago.
Yeah, but we can still remember it, even though we got gray hair now. We didn't have gray hair back then. But we're going to start out today talking with Al, who's the oldest of the three brothers in attendance today. And
we'll say most seasoned.
No, he's the oldest.
Definitely the oldest.
You know, we can poll this room, and that's what you're going to get, is the oldest. Al, when did you get started?
1974. 1955 Chevrolet. I guess you'd call it a Pro-Am car now, but they call it a stock car back then.
And did you guys come out of South Dakota? Is that where you were at?
Grew up in South Dakota. I graduated high school in Brookings, South Dakota. And that's the first racetrack I raced at was Brookings Speedway. It's not there no more, but it was a new track, fairly new back then.
Okay. And
what brought you to Omaha?
The economy, basically. I mean, there's nothing. Well, the trucking business was here, and I was driving an over-the-road truck, and I couldn't get home. When I wanted to get home, I'd come to Omaha and hopped in a car and went home.
Yeah.
And I got here more often than I did home, so I ended up moving down here.
So you were working for a trucking company at the time, an over-the-road trucking company?
Yeah, up in South Dakota.
Okay. And so the Zeitner, your parents had a trucking company here?
They had, at that time, it was just probably, 7, 8 trucks is all they had, at least to a company here in Omaha based out of Sioux Falls. And like I say, whenever I wanted to get home, I got through Omaha more than I did South Dakota. So I hopped in one of their cars and went home on a weekend when I wanted to get home.
So back up a little further for me. What took you to South Dakota?
Well, that's where we grew up.
Okay.
So Dad, we were all born. There's 4 boys, and we were all born in a different city. I think even states. I think I was born in North Dakota. I guess the rest of them were born in South Dakota.
Okay.
So, but Dad was on road construction back then. We lived in a lot of places.
Oh, all right. I got it now. Continue.
Anyway, 1974, Dad come home from work one day and he says, I was just turning 16. He says, "You want a race car?" He says, "See if you can find a 55 Chevy." And he says, "We'll get you a stock car." And he come home from work the next day and there was one sitting in the driveway. And he says, "Well, that didn't take you long."
Were you kind of chewing on it for a while about getting a car? Or
I wanted to do it. Dad did it, and I always wanted to do it. And I knew where there was a car sitting, and I knew who owned the car, and he took it out to the dump and dumped it off. And so I asked him in school the next day after my dad told me that if, what he did, what was the deal with the car. He says, "I didn't want it. I got rid of it." I said, "You don't care if I go get it?" He goes, "No, you want it, go get it." So that's what we did.
You got it for free?
It was free. There was no roll cage. I mean, it was just a car. 1955 Chevy is what it was. No motor in it. We brought it home and took the glass out of it and stripped it out and made a stock car out of it.
Oh, okay.
I almost cringe when I think of all the 55 and 56 Chevys that became stock cars that, you'd give a couple $100,000 to own the darn thing now.
Yeah, I look back and there's a lot. You know, when Dad was racing, there was a ton of 55, 56, 57 Chevys racing at that time.
Oh, yeah, there was a ton of them back here then, too. I mean, I've been going to Sunset for almost as long as it was open. It was a couple of years before I was born, but, yeah, that's all it was back then was, you know, the Chevys. And then until the late models started there in the late 60s around here, then things really changed up. But, Mel, how old were you when you got started?
I think I was a senior in high school, 17, 18, somewhere in there.
Is that up in South Dakota, too?
South Dakota, Brookings, yeah.
So you got your start, you said what year?
70, I think it was 77 when I started.
Did you kind of work with him for the first couple of years when he was racing?
We all went and helped each other, yeah.
Yeah.
Dad was racing, so we was at the track all the time.
Yeah.
Dad's the one that started it all.
Yeah.
It's his fault.
Is that what you guys tell your wives anyway?
Yeah.
I often wonder who we blame for this.
if only he knew then what he knows now, he probably never would
Yeah.
have started it. But.
Who was that driver we were talking to a couple of weeks?
Shannon Anderson.
Yeah,
he said, "Don't say."
I don't know about that. I don't know about the way you worded that.
Yeah, because he said, "So who's to blame for all this?" Well, that's kind of a silly question. There's nobody to blame.
Well, yeah, there is. There's somebody to blame for it. Because, I mean, it's an addiction. I mean, you go to the track as a spectator, and all of a sudden you want to be a race car driver. And if you're working on a crew or you're doing anything at the track, you want to be that guy behind the wheel.
Yeah, but once you're in like the status of these guys, or even with the knowledge that I've obtained in 30 plus years of going to the racetrack, you know, as a crewman or an official or whatever, and you go sit in the stands, it's funny to listen to the people talk up there. You know, it is just hilarious.
Oh, I hear it in the booth every...
No, I was going to say,
man.
yeah, and even the announcers at some tracks.
Oh, jeez. So, Mel and Al, you guys were the start of it all, right? Well, I mean, besides your dad.
Yeah,
but
besides Dad.
Did you have much success up in South Dakota racing around in there, winning track championships, state titles, stuff like that?
We never raced there. Once I started racing, never raced there that long. We moved to Minneapolis and then kind of raced a little bit up there. Then before we came down here, that's when I got serious. So.
Yeah.
I raced that stock car for 2 years, and then I got a 100-inch super modified. And then at the end of 1976, I went in the Air Force. And I was away from racing for, I went in the Air Force in 76. I think it was 80 or 81, right after my mom and dad, the whole family moved to Omaha. I got a phone call one Sunday morning. They had bought Leon a new race car. His old one's sitting here. My dad calls me up and says, "You know anybody that'd like to drive a car, a late model?" And I go, "Well, I can't think of anybody right now." He says, "Well, what about you?" I go, "Well, yeah, I guess I could come down and do that." So that's where it all got started again. If he had never called me, I'd have probably never raced again, you know. But he called me up, and I got started at it. And I think maybe I took 1 year off since then where I didn't race. But other than that, I've raced every single season.
What'd you do in the Air Force?
I was a fire truck mechanic.
Oh, okay.
So I didn't do anything. How often do trucks break down?
I was kind of wondering. I said, did you give up racing for jets and going much, much faster? Or?
No, I went in there and basically I went to work and really, honestly, didn't do nothing. I mean, it was boring. That's probably why I didn't stay in. I mean, I went to work every day, and I mean, how often do fire trucks break down? They don't get used that often, and you know, and it just wasn't for me. So when the time was right, I got out.
With the three of you guys here, where's Dale fit in time-wise? Is he the youngest, or is Leon the youngest?
I'm the youngest.
Yeah.
Where's Dale fit in?
He's between Leon and I.
Okay, so he would be third in line.
Third in line, yeah.
Okay. Leon, when did you get started in all this?
82, 81, 82, somewhere in there.
So after you guys had been in Omaha a couple years. So.
Yeah. Well, I was still up in Minneapolis. I graduated up there, and then Dad's business got big enough, and he wanted another guy down here. So it was like July, I think I moved down here, and I think I helped Mel for the first year or so, and then ended up getting they had the late models and then the stock stub sport ones. You know, that's what I first ran.
Well, as I say, Sunset, they didn't have to be stock stub because we ran our car was a Sportsman car, and it was a Peterson Superfly.
Yeah. We had, I don't know, I think I was running, when I first started, I think Corning, Iowa was the first track I ever raced at.
Yeah, I think Corning was stock stub, and you had, because we didn't run there, we ran Harlan and Sunset, but no quick change in the two barrel was basically the only rules we had. I mean, our car weighed 2,200 pounds, and then they put that goofy weight rule on and said they had to weigh 3,000 pounds. We broke our first set of springs, literally broke them when we put all the weight in the back of the car and let the jack down.
Leaf springs.
Yep. Had no idea what it was going to take, you know. We just know the car worked with what it had, and we just put the weight in it and said, let's see if we can get to 3,000. I mean, I literally had weight plates, 50-pound plates I borrowed them from a weightlifter buddy of mine, and put 700 pounds of those in the car and put the jack down and bang!
We're talking with the whole Zeitner clan. I think it's about time we could take a quick break. We'll be back here on the front stretch in just a few minutes. We'll be back.
If you love wings, if you love rings, and all kinds of other tempting things, great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak and Lube.
Quaker Steak and Lube is the official watering hole for the front stretch and the best place to catch all the NASCAR action today. Open at 11 a.m. with delivery available to Council Bluffs.
Great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak and Lube.
Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs has taken a page out of IMCA's rulebook and gone crate. These brand new low-emission engines will still have you white-knuckling it all through the Metro's fastest indoor facility. Joe's Karting is now friendly for all skill levels with their brand new Honda-powered engines. It's time to get to Joe's today and find out what drivers like Jack Dover, Shaylee Bate, and Andrew Kosiski have known for years. Located in Council Bluffs and online at joeskarting.com. That's karting with a K.
This is Andrew from Kosiski Auto Parts. Kosiski Auto Parts is an insurance-quality used parts supplier that can match your foreign or domestic car or truck needs. If you have a damaged or broke-down car or truck, we guarantee a clean and quality part in next-day fashion. Kosiski Auto Parts, your neighborhood premium recycled parts supplier. Call any Kosiski Auto Parts salesman today by dialing 402-731-4592 or visit us at 5040 I Street in Omaha. Kosiski Auto Parts, our quality used parts will match your car or truck's needs.
We're hooked up in turn 2 and still showing the green flag on the front stretch.
Welcome back to the front stretch. Heading into turn number 2, brought to you by Kosiski Auto Parts, online at Kosiski.com. Quality used parts at an affordable price. 731-4592 are the numbers to call. Get your car back on the road at an affordable price. Talking with all the Zeitners here at Zeitner Trucking, Zeitner and Sons Trucking here in Omaha. And what is the heart of trucking all over this area? I mean, 90% of the semis are out here? I mean, it's insane. It's got to get to be a bit of a pain in the butt getting around through here, though.
Well, we're right here in the heart of meat country and, feeding America.
Yeah, that's absolutely right.
One load at a time.
Talking with Leon, Mel, Corey, Zach, and Al. Dirk, we were just finishing up last turn about getting our start here, getting you guys into Omaha, into that area, and kind of starting your guys' racing off at Corning. Where else would your guys racing there way back then?
Eagle. Used to go to Eagle every Friday nights, and I never went to Harlan till recently that much. But
And I know, Leon, you spent a bunch of time up north of Park Jefferson.
Oh, yeah, we all raced at one time or another up in Park Jefferson. I keep giving Justin a bad time about he gets complaining if he races 2-3 days in a row. We used to do 3 days, Eagle on Friday, and some of us went to Corning, some of us went to Park Jefferson on Saturday, and then Sunset on Sunday. Everybody's at Sunset on Sunday.
No, the serious racers have been the 3-day race people for as long as I can remember. I mean, Denison was running a lot. There was a lot of guys that would go to Denison and Corning on Saturday. There were some guys that would double dip on Sunday, because what was the track in Nebraska City? Riverhead or Riverside or something? That was probably closed by the time you guys got here.
Yeah.
But back in the 70s when it was open, they ran on Sunday afternoon, and then everybody fly up from hit Sunset after they'd race there all afternoon.
Well, it's got to be. I've always been taught, especially like when I was trying to learn how to do radio, and we were doing one shift a week, and you're thinking, well, how am I going to get good at anything if I'm only doing it once a week? Most people are practicing. You guys aren't able to really practice, so you've got to go out there and race 2, 3, even 4 times if you're really going to hone your skill.
Seat time.
Yeah, I just don't think, especially in today's deal, that you can, be competitive if you just race one night a week. I've seen that. I know that up front, but I probably need to race more. But it's just having more time with running a business and everything else. But, back in the day, it was you prayed for Monday to come so you get some rest.
Corey, is it like that for you? How many times are you racing now? 2? How many times a week? 2, 3?
Mostly 2 nights a week. It's kind of hard to get 3 nights anymore.
Except with specials.
Yeah. This weekend, I think we get 3 nights.
Coming over into Omaha, was it a big transition for you guys? Is the dirt different? Is the style of racing different down here than it is up there?
You mean from South Dakota to here? Well, up there, everything is pretty much open wheel, black dirt, and they never dried out. I don't think I ever seen tracks up there dry out when I was a kid. And but yeah, the racing's different. I think it's a lot. And nowadays it's probably pretty equal no matter where you go. But back then the competition was definitely a lot better down here than it was up there.
Really?
Well, back then you didn't have near the rules and the uniformity. If you could go out and buy a $100 right rear tire and put one on for the heat and a new one on for the feature, you did it.
Yep.
And they could be 2 different compounds and 2 different makes. And I mean, when I first got involved with the racing, even at Sunset, everybody had a dry slick tire that was made by Goodyear, and just about everybody ran a Hoosier in the mud. That's just the way it was. And then NASCAR came in and made all the uniformity, back there in the early 80s, and that's just gone everywhere.
Yeah, I think them coming in and changing tire rules saved everybody a lot of money.
Probably did over the long run, and,
Yeah.
and now, about 10 years ago, I think they allowed everybody to start grinding the tires, which even saved more money, seal them over and break the seal and go race some more.
Yeah, tires are probably our number one drawback to racing. I think you gotta keep fresh tires on a car, and they're not cheap. You got to put new ones on every week.
I'm not the greatest with the rules and keeping up with all that stuff, but is there still more uniformity that could be done to the rules for as far as tires are concerned?
I think they could go. I've had this conversation with various promoters. They could go with a different tire in what they're running, I think, and save us some money. They want a tire that would last longer.
Like a harder compound?
Yeah, but then the competition says, well, who wants to race on a tire like that? Well, everybody's got to do it, so nobody's going to have an advantage.
Yeah.
The IMCA tire that we run at Harlan, I love that tire. It lasts forever, wears like iron, and they don't cost as much. But, over here in Omaha, it's a different tire. They're not bad, but you can burn a tire off in one night.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it expensive.
Different sanctioning body, though, and you're not going to get 2 sanctioning bodies wanting to run the same equipment. It's the bad part.
God forbid they agree.
Never get everybody to agree.
Yeah. You try to get as close as you can.
So, Corey, how long you been in the seat?
I started in 2001. I was 17 years old. So.
And in 2001, you could do that with. Did your parents have to sign a release when you did that, like now?
No, I don't think so. I was 17 then. I think as long as he was over 16, he was all right.
Well, I was going to say, I think it was in 2002 is when NASCAR introduced their 18-year-old rule, because I was at California working a truck race, and we were with the Indy cars, and IRL would not let Kyle Busch drive one of Jack Roush's trucks because he wasn't old enough to buy cigarettes, and Marlboro was their big sponsor. Mm-hmm. And that's when NASCAR's 18-year-old rule came into effect, which has long gone by the wayside now, but it was kind of funny getting to watch Kyle Busch walk out of the NASCAR hauler crying like a little girl. I don't get the race.
Yeah, he's done that a couple of times.
Yeah, he was an adult.
Was it long overdue for you, or you think 17 was a good time? You're ready to, or?
I think so. I don't know, like when I was 16, thinking about racing, you just thinking about it, you just got so nervous, like you're just gonna crap your pants, And but then once it come time, you just figure just do it, and ain't so bad now.
Were you bugging dad and cousin and uncle? Put me in a car. Let me drive.
He had a go-kart that he was playing a little bit with. So
Yeah.
Krugs used to take him. I was too busy racing. I didn't take him that much, but Krugs was taking him.
Yeah.
He spent enough time in the shop.
Guy's 30, 31 years old, and he's already got gray hair, so that'll tell you how nervous he gets.
My time in the shop with my dad growing up on the farm was sweeping. Was that what you did in the shop?
No, we made him work on him.
Did you?
Yeah.
My dad rightfully so, would not let me near anything. I can break things better than I can fix it, so he didn't let me near any of the expensive stuff. He's like, there's a wagon over there. You can go fix that, and then I'd break it. But
he was pretty smart on him when he started because he worked on him quite a bit, and he listened to everybody talking in the shop, so he kind of had an idea on how to drive. So.
They made a whole saying for Dan. Dan's the guy that can screw up the steel ball with a rubber hammer.
Yes, sir. So that must have been when you're out there driving and you're kind of taking laps around it, and you're kind of coming up against these situations. You're remembering those things at the shop that everyone's been talking about with, when they did this happened, and you had to make sure and go into the corner this way. Is that kind of what happened?
No, I don't know. They just kind of told you about different tracks, how different tracks race, and what to watch out for and stuff like that. But
yeah, you don't
other
have a whole
competitors to watch out for too.
Yeah, I watched them long enough, know who's who. But
yeah.
Back then, I think they was probably watching out for me, what I was doing.
I was going to say, you don't have a whole lot of time when you're driving. I mean, the laps are clicking away at 15, 16 seconds. You don't have a whole lot of time to think about what you were talking about last week. Hopefully, it pops into your head right away, and you can try it.
mostly just reacting to whatever happens. But
My uncle told me a story. He used to race midgets, and he told me that the thing that they told him the first time he got into the car was to make sure and breathe. Do you have a problem with that in late models and racing? I mean, just reminding yourself at the beginning of it all to take a breath?
when I was younger racing, it's like you find yourself holding your breath and you get tired and it's like, well, you're not breathing, So but now, I used to get real nervous before I got in the car, but now I just get in and go. And
did you ever throw up before you got in the car, got sick?
A couple times you felt like you could.
Yeah.
You always didn't want to do it.
I don't know about holding your breath. I still have that problem for every year. As old as I am, the first 2 or 3 nights of the season, I'll be out racing a heat race. I'm halfway through it, and I'm winded. I can't breathe. And that's when I tell myself, you just got to breathe. Now, here we are late in the year, and I can go 50 laps, not even be tired because I'm more relaxed.
Yeah.
First part of the year, I always get that way. I find myself holding my breath, and you got to tell yourself to breathe.
I'm kind of looking around. All of you guys have got the forearms of drivers.
Well, we used to race when they didn't have power steering.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And that's.
I don't know how the heck you do that.
Well,
I don't know how we did it either.
Yeah, I don't either. If the power steering quits today, I'm going to pull in. I still remember when Corey first started racing. We was racing over at Denison.
Yeah.
And went to go out for the feature, and my car wouldn't start. And the feature was on the racetrack, and it was a limited class, and Corey was racing. We pulled him in off the track and threw him out, and I jumped in the seat and took off, went down into the first corner because I was kind of a little late getting on the track, and I had to catch him up. And I'm going down there, and I went in the corner, and I went to turn that car, and I thought, my God, I thought this thing had power steering in it. This is all I could do to drive it, just to keep it straight. And I don't know where we finished, but I come back in, and I told him, I said, son, you ain't got no power steering. He goes, well, I thought it steered hard. I guess he didn't know how it was supposed to steer, know. And I told him, I said, there's a rack in my trailer. I said, you put that rack on, and I said, you'll find out how a car is supposed to steer. And I think he had to learn how to drive all over again because it steered so easy.
Yeah, I asked him if it steered hard because when he got done racing, his arms just be shaking. His muscles were so tired, And he goes, I don't know.
I turn, it turns.
Yeah. I knew right at the first corner.
What about the next level for you guys? Were you always happy with just being the local weekend 3-4 night racers, or did you guys have aspirations to go up, maybe race NASCAR full time, get up into the asphalt and into the big paydays?
I know, living out here, it's kind of hard to even do that. Just being good around here was good enough for me to do it. But
I don't know if I could whine as much as them NASCAR guys do. What do they do? Go to the track and play on Friday and Saturday and race on Sunday and complain about it on the rest of the time.
Yeah, you start getting the paychecks, you'd be surprised how quickly you can whine.
Yeah, there's not too many real good racers. Like look at the old days, Buddy Baker, Earnhardt. Good guys that could go out and put on a show. And now there's a lot of good drivers. A lot of guys don't like Kyle Busch, but I'm a good Kyle Busch fan. I think he can wheel. He's a hell of a racer.
I like him when he's not whining, and he doesn't seem to be whining as much this year. So I'm a big fan.
He's grown up a lot.
But I said it since Daytona a couple of years ago when he was virtually sideways and corrected the car. From there on, I said he's probably the most talented driver on that track. And he did that twice during that race and still finished. I couldn't believe that. But yeah, he's an incredibly talented driver. Just gets sick and tired of listening to him whine.
It's like the old saying. He was talking about cheers or boos. I always like Earnhardt saying, as long as they're doing something, you're doing something right.
As long as they're paying attention to you.
What about you, Al? Did you ever want to go up and race bigger things?
The bigger thing would have been sprint car for me.
Really?
I always wanted to drive a sprint car, and never did, because I got started in 100-inch super modifieds, where little coupe bodies on them and stuff. And there was a year, I forget, it was after I-80 opened up. Rich Bellino owned the track. There was a guy who had a sprint car for sale, and I went and looked at it, talked to my dad. He was gonna take one of our late model motors, put fuel injection on it, and I was gonna go buy that car. Well, I got in off the road on a Friday, and I hopped in my pickup and got my trailer, and I was headed out the gate. He stops me, I want to know where I was going. Told him I was going to buy that car. He says, no, me and your mom talked, and if I want to stay married, he says, we ain't going to have no sprint cars.
Oh, Mom put her foot down?
So, and that's where so I never did do it. I always wanted to, never did.
Yeah.
And now I know I'm too old to do it now, so.
Well, you could get into one of them Race Saver 305s.
I would love to do that. I'd love to get one for my son Zach, but I haven't talked his mom into that yet.
Oh, Mom's putting her foot down again.
Yeah, well, it's a different mom this time. But
just tell her it's a funny looking go kart. It's just a little bit bigger.
Yeah,
got the same kind of roll cage. You got a cage car, right, Zach?
Cars get upside down. I said, well, then late models get upside down too. I've done that. So.
And the late models and the Race Saver 305s put up very similar times.
Yeah.
Maybe the sprint car's about half a second faster depending on the track you're at.
Yeah, they're. I haven't seen too many shows with them 305s, but what I have seen, it looks like a great class for someone to get into, a beginner that wanted to race sprint cars.
Yeah.
Well, I've seen them a few times. The only thing I notice is they're not real fast on the straightaway, but they don't lift for the corner.
No.
I mean, they crack the throttle to set the car, and that is just back wide open. So they corner like a dream. I mean, they fly through the corner.
Yeah.
But the straightaways isn't that fast. Zach, when did you get started in all this wonderful, crazy world of racing?
It was November last year, the turkey chase.
That was first kart race?
Yep. I went out there, and the indoor stuff's a little harder than the outdoor stuff, and he told me, here you go. And
what's different about it?
They say it's kind of harder just to get your car set up, and it's all a little hard because it's indoors. And
Do they make a dirt track down there, or do they just put Coke syrup down?
They make a dirt track.
You know, the big thing I've noticed, because I've been to some indoor kart races, is the track doesn't change like it will when it's outside because it's not affected by the weather.
Right. Yeah.
Let's take a break. We'll come back. We'll talk more with Zach and Corey about taking over the family heritage and more about the history of it all, the scary moments, the jubilation of the big wins, and the exciting stuff like that. We'll be back here on the front stretch.
We have all been there before. Broken car part in your hand and some snot-nosed punk behind the counter has no idea what he's talking about, but he guarantees that this part will fix your car. You pay an arm and a leg for the replacement, get it home, and sure enough, it doesn't fit your car. Now, learn from your mistake and give an experienced salesperson at Kosiski Auto Parts a call today at 402-731-4592. Kosiski Auto Parts will get you back on the road with your arms and legs still attached.
If you love wings, if you love rings, and all kinds of other tempting things, great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak and Lube.
Quaker Steak and Lube is the official watering hole for the front stretch and the best place to catch all the NASCAR action today. Open at 11 a.m. with delivery available to Council Bluffs.
Great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak and Lube.
Are you looking to book your next outing? Look no further than Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs. Located just north of Bass Pro Shop, Joe's Karting can handle outings of well over 100 plus people. Bachelor parties, corporate outings, team building, birthday parties, and much more. Give Buddy a call today and reserve your outing. Joe's will even work with local restaurants to cater your event. Book yours today at joeskarting.com. That's karting with a K. It's time to get to Joe's and find out what everyone already knows.
Feather the brake and get back to the gas. Dan and Dirk are headed into turn 3 on the front stretch.
Welcome back to the front stretch. Heading into turn number 3, we're sitting at Zeitner & Sons Trucking, talking about the whole Zeitner family clan. Al, let's start off with you. I want to know your scariest moment in a race car.
I don't know. I think the scariest moment I ever had, I was so scared for the first race car I ever drove, that 55 Chevy I was talking about. I was excited, number one, to be out on a racetrack, but I was scared at the same time. And I remember when hot laps came around, I got out on the track, got the hot laps done, pulled in the pits, went to take off my seat belts, and guess what? I didn't even put them on.
Oh my gosh. I'm really surprised, like people talking about racing back in the 60s and 70s and 80s, the lack of safety that was in. I mean, obviously it was just an evolution of the sport that eventually we got around to doing a lot of this stuff that you guys have to do today. But I mean, I'm surprised they even made you take the glass out of the windshields or out of the windows.
The safety just in the seats alone has come so far from back then. I mean, I seen a lot of seats back. I had a fiberglass racing seat back then, and I seen a lot of seats back then that were made out of 33-gallon grease barrels that they cut out and made racing seats out of. So, I mean, just the seats alone have come a long ways. And then the seat belts back then, shoulder straps used to be 2 inches wide. The lap belt was 3, but now everything's 3 inches wide, and everything's just a lot better.
5-point harness. Yeah. They got to be, yeah.
I mean, when I first got involved in racing as an official, and we would do our safety inspections, you'd see a guy over there, looked like he had a helmet made for his 10-speed bike. But I didn't have any money for a helmet. I just spent $2,500 for my carburetor. The carburetor, if it fails, you get a second chance, dude. But if that helmet fails, there is no second chance.
Where'd you get your helmet from? Sears and Roebuck catalog? The bike section.
Monkey Wards.
You guys got to figure out what your head's worth.
But you never had a really scary wreck, any kind of moment where in the middle of it you think, oh man, this may be it?
Adams County Speedway, 1996. 3 things happened to me that year. It was a bad year. The first thing that happened was I got pneumonia, spent a couple weeks in the hospital. Got out, recovered, was over at Adams County Speedway, went end over end down the front straightaway, and that's the first time I ever did that, only time I ever did that. And it was scary at first, but I'm sitting there bouncing around the track and thinking, I ain't never, most people shut their eyes, I guess. I said, I'm going to keep my eyes open. I want to watch this and see what happens. And I did. I kept my eyes open all the way through, and then it was over with. And then the third thing happened that year is I got married.
That's pretty scary.
You
But,
better make sure your wife's busy.
But you know what? I'm still married to her 19 years, so she likes racing. That's a plus.
How many times you had to be on the couch?
The nice thing about getting mad at each other is you get to make up later.
Yeah. Oh, jeez. Now, what about you? Scariest moment behind the wheel?
Oh, I don't know. As far as wreck-wise, is probably the worst one was at Sunset. That I think it was July 26th. I remember that because it was like the same day I asked her to marry me. Not the same day, but on that date.
Mm-hmm.
Went off the backstretch up in the air above the billboards and come down and landed on the nose and flipped it. It's probably more scary for the family than it was for me. But
wow.
That's about the worst one I can remember.
Any serious injuries?
No. Skin knuckles, stuff like that, But.
Is it scarier? Was that wreck scarier, or is it scarier watching Corey race?
I used to get nervous watching Corey race. Every time he go out there, I get more nervous than if I was racing.
Yeah.
But, I get used to it now. It doesn't bother me so much anymore. But.
He actually gets mad at him. I've seen him get mad at him before.
Oh, really? Yeah. I can't believe it.
So he doesn't listen. Why doesn't he listen to me?
Leon, what about you?
I don't know that I was probably awake through my scariest one. Probably the one, Mel probably remember this one over at I-80. I think it was the first year or second year they were open. They had the opening in the backstretch, and I got hit at the right time, and I hit that opening about Mach 5, and last thing I remember is I hit it, and I woke up, and Mel was standing in front of me, looking at me, asked me if I was all right, and I said, I think so, but that's...
Wait, there was an opening?
Right in the middle of the backstretch.
Yeah, that's where that's where all the haulers came in, is right.
Well, no, you guys pitted outside.
We pitted outside. That's where the cars
came.
Well, this was after when we started pitting inside. Then they put an opening right in the middle, and it wasn't tapered back or anything. It was just an opening, and I hit that thing wide open, and it busted the car in 3 pieces. It shoved the right frame wheel back 8 inches.
Was there a gate or anything?
No gate or nothing. And it, I don't know. There's no. I could take the steering wheel, move it back and forth. Why that didn't punch me in the chest? There were so many things that happened on that deal that I just, I look back and I go, that was. If I was a cat, I just lost a life. Because I used it up there.
That story reminds me a lot of. Was it Michael Waltrip that hit that opening at Bristol that his car just disintegrated?
I had people bringing back parts of the car on Sunday when we was unloading it here in the shop, looking at it just to see. I didn't need the Simpson T-shirt that has a picture of the belts on, because I had that on Sunday. It was a pretty hard hit.
Wow.
You never got any nervous that I remember one time at Sunset, I think you had a power steering failure, that or a brake line, and you had a little fireball going.
Yeah, I had the servo broke off and went back and hit the oil filter and knocked the oil filter off, and that's when we ran the headers that were under the car, and it distributed the oil evenly to both sides, and I could see the fire through the shifter, and I could see it out the door, and I'm going, I'm going to get to the fire truck faster, and he's going to get to me. But when I got there, Speedy was gone.
He was chasing you down the back straightaway.
I already had my belts off. I can remember this, and I had my belts off, and I was trying to get out of that car, and a big old Larry Pataski grabbed me with one arm, and he jerked me out of that car so fast it wasn't even funny.
Wow.
Yeah.
Let's see, Corey, what about you? Been racing for about 10 years now. Have you had a real scary moment?
It's been longer than that, but I can't remember. I think it was 2008. It was over at Harlan. And I just went off into turn 3 and got loose and started sliding, and the right rear dug and rolled it probably, 4 times. And the last hit was right on the roof. In that car, the roof was pretty short, and I could just feel every bone in my neck crack. And that was a little scary.
Did you? You were conscious during the whole thing?
Yeah.
kind of start to check yourself over? Okay, I can move my toes. I can move my.
They took me to the hospital, and everything was fine. But that was probably the most scariest one.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I know you had to be a little worried one night down at I-80 when somebody wasn't paying attention and decided to walk behind your race car.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know whose fault that was. It was probably more my fault.
If you're in the pits and you ain't paying attention, it's your fault. That's all there is to it.
Yep. I about turned into a bug courtesy of Joey Saldana one night when I was texting instead of paying attention what I was doing in the pits. So
you don't want to do that around sprint car race.
No, you don't. Man
you don't
alive.
Around anywhere to race.
Man, I can't. And that was the first time I ever met Joe Koziski was at April 2012 at the Spring Meltdown. And I'm coming in that back pit gate. And we get into where that porta potty is over there by turn 3, and he finds me. I mean, he grabbed me and pulled me in close, and he goes, "You keep your head on a swivel, you're going to turn into a big stain on my ground." And he's scared the living crap out of me, but apparently not enough, because a couple years later, I was texting away to somebody, and one of Joey Saldana's crew members goes, "Oh!" And I just looked up, and inches, his front tire went in front of me. If I'd have just kept going another split second, I'd have been in pretty bad shape. But yeah, you got to really keep your head on it. So what's that story though? Somebody walked behind your car and you?
Well, nobody walked behind. We had a flat tire and we was in a big hurry, and I was trying to back up, and
he had a guy directing him, backing him up, and the guy backing him up didn't see the car behind him.
By the time they were telling me to stop and hit the brakes, and then I backed into a car. So that probably might have been the most scariest deal, because the fact of hurting somebody else,
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, I never got hit at the track. I came close. Carl Edwards about got me in a truck race. He got his valance over my toes, and he got out afterwards after the race. He goes, "Man, I'm really sorry, but I'm not going to hit you. I got to reclip the truck if I do that." But at a late model race, I about got hit by John Hampel during qualifying for a Busch All-Star Tour race at Freeport. Any of you guys ever go to Freeport?
Never been there.
I was on my way there a few times. We got rained out halfway there.
No, I think I did that one too. And but it's a real dark track, not lit real well, but real dark dirt, and it's just tough to see. But he wasn't paying attention. I mean, I was out there every race, waving you off the back straightaway after your qualifying lap because the other guy's starting, and he still about run me over. He knew I was going to be there and about got me. So
I think Freeport, isn't that racetrack years ago? They stacked late models 3 deep, 3 on top of each other in the front stretch.
That might have been Freeport.
Yeah.
Well, all these guys have had their scary moments, but have you been at the track watching? Maybe Corey, you can talk about this too, of watching your dad's race and something happens, and you guys got to go through that kind of uncontrolled, scary moment of, my God, are they still alive? That's got to be pretty frightening too.
Yeah. I'd probably say the most scared watching was probably when Leon hit that backstretch, because he hit it a ton.
Yeah. I've had some, even only a couple of years up in the booth announcing, I've had some times where I thought, Jesus, did I just watch somebody die? I mean, that is such a chilling moment, and to have it be a family member. I don't have anybody that's involved in racing anymore, so I don't have to worry about it. But I mean, having a third generation now.
I don't know, was it that bad? I didn't get to see it. I slept through the whole thing.
I took a nap.
I know it sure upset my wife quite a bit, and a lot of other people, but it trashed a race car.
Maybe you started your nap before you hit it.
That was kind of funny because my dad's favorite saying, everybody will vouch for this, we can fix it. We can always fix it, Yeah. Well, at what point can you fix it, So he called me on Sunday and asked me, how did you do? And I said, I think Al got this. I think Dale did this. And Mel got this. And he goes, well, what'd you do? I said, I had a crash. He goes, well, did you race last night? I said, no, I didn't race last night. Cars, got to get another car. Oh, we can fix it. Wait till I get home. I said, all right. Well, we had it sitting out here by the oil barrel, and it had a piece of the frame rail up on top. The whole the one bolt took the motor plate out. Front cross member was gone. It was just hanging in there, and there was a piece of pipe that stuck out in front of the firewall on the driver's side, and we grabbed that and stuck it over by the oil barrel. I think once he walked in and seen that, I don't think he wanted to fix it anymore.
No. Did you have some trouble convincing the wife to let you back in the car?
No, not really. Not at all.
You ever had trouble convincing the wife to let you back in the car?
No. In fact, the biggest thing I have trouble convincing my wife is it's time to quit. I've been wanting to.
Really?
Yeah, I've been wanting to quit racing for the last 3-4 years, and she keeps talking me into doing it.
What? Because she likes going to the track.
She
and
loves
racing.
She grew up with it around her folks and stuff, and I'm ready to step away. I think at the end of this year, I'm going to step away and I'm going to turn it over to Zach. I mean, I might do a little bit next year, but I'm not going to race full time. There ain't no way.
You think you're going to be able to give it up?
It's going to be hard because I've done it since 1974, basically.
Yeah.
And I love racing. There ain't no doubt about it. But there just comes a time when a man gets old enough, he says enough's enough.
Yeah. And that's a tough line to understand because I think racing's not football or basketball or, the stick and ball sports where, your endurance can carry you a lot longer into your life where you don't have 10 years that's it for you. You can go on for 20, 30, 40 years. And so you do have to that line of knowing when to quit is a lot harder to see.
Red Farmer hasn't figured it out yet.
Yeah.
So.
The biggest thing with these, the way these cars are anymore, now I tell people this a lot. It's gotten to the point where it's kids' game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, it's you get, like I say, you got to have power steering and stuff. And the way you're driving these cars, the G-forces through the corners and everything anymore, it's just you got to be in pretty good shape and pretty sharp and pretty quick to.
You got to be a damn contortionist to get in the car.
Well, you just need a stool to get in. Gravity will put you in. It's that getting out part that's hard.
Yeah. Corey, what about you? Do you have a girlfriend that kind of bugs you about? Doesn't like you go racing? Is she pretty? No girlfriends?
He better not have a girlfriend. His wife might get mad.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I didn't realize you were married.
I got a wife. Been married since 2007.
Sounds like you didn't remember or something.
And we got 2 little girls.
So he had the bad habit before he ever met her.
Oh.
Yeah. I told her if she wants me to quit, it's too bad. I was racing long before her. So.
Yeah. Is she pretty supportive?
Yeah, for the most part, yeah.
Did she help out with the racing team at all, any?
Yeah, she's in charge of selling T-shirts. That's about it.
Well, put a pretty face in front of selling the T-shirts, and that helps out with the bottom line a little bit.
Yeah.
Some of these guys put some real, get them real pretty girls, not even their wives, just pick up some cute girl and have them do it, and boy, they can move a couple of T-shirts, I tell you. All right, let's take another quick break. We'll come back. We'll wrap it all up here with the Zeitners. This is The Front Stretch, presented by Joe's Karting on AM 590, Omaha's ESPN Radio.
We have all been there before. Broken car part in your hand and some snot-nosed punk behind the counter has no idea what he is talking about, but he guarantees that this part will fix your car. You pay an arm and a leg for the replacement, get it home, and sure enough, it doesn't fit your car. Now, learn from your mistake and give an experienced salesperson at Kosiski Auto Parts a call today at 402-731-4592. Kosiski Auto Parts will get you back on the road with your arms and legs still attached.
Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs has taken a page out of IMCA's rulebook and gone crate. These brand new low-emission engines will still have you white-knuckling it all through the Metro's fastest indoor facility. Joe's Karting is now friendly for all skill levels with their brand new Honda-powered engines. It's time to get to Joe's today and find out what drivers like Jack Dover, Shaylee Bate, and Andrew Kosiski have known for years. Located in Council Bluffs and online at joeskarting.com. That's karting with a K.
It's checkers or wreckers as we enter turn 4 on The Front Stretch, presented by Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs.
Just about ready to wrap this baby up. We appreciate you joining us this Sunday morning for the Zeitner special show. We've been talking with Leon, Mel, Corey, Zach, and Al about the start of the whole thing with their dad getting started in it and then opening it up and letting them all race, and now the sons are racing, and eventually maybe Corey, maybe one of your daughters is going to be racing.
We talked about go-karts, but I don't know if it'll ever happen.
Yeah.
Well, there's going to be an open go-kart seat here next year.
Yeah, maybe.
Did they come to the track with you quite a bit?
Yeah, for the most part, at I-80, but if we going somewhere, then you just stay home.
Yeah. One thing I was wanting to ask, talk to you guys about, and I'm fascinated with the kind of the tension that can build between just competitors, and it's got to be even worse that you guys don't get to go away and cool down and then talk to the guy the next Friday at the track. You guys are here on Monday morning, sitting next to each other, sitting in the truck. I mean, has it been tasking on your guys' relationship as a family to, you got together for whatever racing incident, or maybe you're mad at him or whatever?
It's happened.
Yeah.
I think Dad probably settled a lot of those.
Mom settles more than
Mom points that finger.
Well, I've seen in the Kosiski household where Mom's settling everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I would agree with that. It seems like Grace is a bit of the family or the head of that throne.
She's a CEO over there.
She sits back and lets things happen, but when she rules, that's it. That's final.
Kind of like EF when she talks, people listen.
Yeah. But do you guys have? I mean, have you had long-standing, ones that have gone on for a while that you don't look at each other in the shop, you don't talk to each other?
I kind of get the impression you're trying to start something here.
No, I'm asking. I love this.
No, we've had. I can say. I'll go ahead and say. There's been a time that I guarantee everyone in this room, as far as Leon and Melvin are concerned, and Corey, of the four of us, we've all had our differences of opinion on the racetrack, either on the track or after the track or before or after a race. But you got to come to work Monday morning. You got to forget about it.
Yeah.
Because it happened on the racetrack, and you got to work together. It's tough. Even if you don't race together, you still got to work together, and that's tough in itself. So you just got to do the best you can.
Well, the natural competitiveness of it all says, as long as you guys have been in this, there's bound to be a couple of fights.
Oh yeah. And it's the racetrack's fault. That's it's because as soon as everything's fine up until they wave that green flag, then feelings start getting hurt sometimes.
What really makes it tough is when I can remember the days at Sunset. Dad would look at the lineup board and Melvin, myself, Leon, Dale. When Dale was racing, all four of us in the same heat race. Okay, they took 4 out of that heat race to make the A. So you got four brothers out there, and they're all trying to do the same thing. And I think one night there was four Zeitners, and I think 3 Kaziskis in the same heat race. So
wow,
that was
could be a family feud right there.
Yeah. Did you guys have
I was going to say, somebody did a lineup board wrong that night, because the way you guys went in points, that should have never happened.
Well, somebody has a bad night the week before, their point average gets low.
Yeah, but Sunset ran on 4 weeks point average. They didn't do that one night stuff.
Yeah.
So if you were up in points, I mean, you could almost, by the middle of June, if the cars showed up, I could tell you what the lineup was just by who was in the pits. I didn't need no point sheets or nothing. Right. I knew where everybody was at.
That 4-week average was always the way to go, I always thought.
But I suppose, the first week or two of the season when you guys are drawing for starting positions, it could have happened
That
then.
might have been what the deal was. All I can remember was that I know for a fact there was one night all 4 of us were in the same heat race. My dad just shook his head, shrugged his shoulders, turned around and walked away.
Did you kind of hop in there and go, man, there's going to be a fight tonight?
I was worried about the fight so much as all the stuff he's going to tear up and he's going to have to pay for it.
Years ago at Sunset, me and Mel had a little altercation one night, and the next weekend I was down turns 3 and 4, and I was talking to Ed Kaziski, and we're talking about what happened the week before, and you guys got that all reserved and all resolved and everything. I said, I don't know. We got to talking about heat races, and I go, what heat you in? He goes, I'm in the second heat. I go, you're in the same heat as me and Mel. And then that's when he says, you got that issue solved from last week. I don't think so. I said, you just better be careful. I don't think he meant it that night. He was being careful. I don't think you want to get involved in that deal.
So the question is, do you cut your brother or your nephew or your son? Do you cut him any slack, or he's another competitor on the track?
I don't think a lot of times if you just race as hard as you can, I think if you start backing off because you're of something, I mean, you're not going to hit them,
on purpose.
Yeah, there's some people out there I would run over their mother, but then there's other people that
who would that be? Let's name names.
But it's just I don't think you can back off, and because you got the chance of getting run over. You know, and I surely ain't going to cut Justin any slack.
Well, and I mean, you guys got you got your sponsors to take care of. You got to win when you can. That's all there is to it.
Yeah.
Where's Justin at, by the way? I thought he was going to come in.
Well, you heard he's getting married, so
he got nervous.
He's probably got a honeydew list. So
poor guy.
Yeah.
I don't know what this whole marriage thing's all about.
I have no idea.
He's a odd driver. We got to exclude him anyway. So.
Well, didn't he hopped into a late model a little while ago, didn't he?
He's been running my other car for a while here now. They broke the motor, and he's just sitting down there without a motor in it now. Say, there you go, Dad.
Yeah, he was running pretty good. I remember when he was in that late model a couple weeks ago.
I don't. I can kind of understand him going to the mod. There's a lot of good mod shows around here that pay a lot of money. So he's had one car didn't quite work that well, and I think in 2 weeks here he'll be getting a new GRT, and I think things will be a lot better.
What's the story behind the number you guys run? Was that your dad that ran that number that started it all off?
My dad had number. Well, it's a long story. He drove a gravel truck when he met my mother that was number 76.
Oh, really?
And so that was his number when he drove a race car. And then when I started racing, I was 76, I guess. But it was also the year I graduated high school.
Okay.
So I just kind of stuck with that number. And I couldn't have it at first because Leon had it. And so I was number 74. Well, then he moved from late model to late model to modifieds and left that number open. So I bought it and took it over, and I've had it ever since.
Well, I think we all ran the 76 number at one time. Mel ran it, and then when we all started racing late model classes, we just had to come up with a different number, I guess.
Yeah, and I believe a couple of you were on the 62?
Well, Dale was 60.
Okay.
And I think the reason he went with that, because it's probably the same reason, I'm 62, because I guess that's just the year I was born.
Okay.
I figured that was the opposite of Mel's number. That's why you picked
No,
up.
that's just Mel. I think that's.
I got 26 because that's when we got married. So we number 26.
Well, that's a silly reason to pick a number.
You don't forget your wedding date that way.
I haven't had a wedding date, dude. So
coming up, and I asked my wife the other night, is it the 14th or the 17th? And she just gave me that dirty look, and I said, I think it's the 14th. Am I right? She goes, yeah.
Why do you think tattoos were invented, Al?
Helping guys remember the anniversary for centuries.
Of course, Al's probably like me. There's no tattoos on him because you do not put bumper stickers on a Ferrari.
That's right.
That's true. That's very true. Is there anything, are you guys, is that number special to you, the number you guys run? Is it kind of just, it's sentimental, or if need be, you would change numbers?
Well, if I had a sponsor come along and said, you got to run this number, and had the money, I'd change number in a heartbeat.
Okay. You mean like AM 590?
Yeah, AM 590. I'd probably be number 59 all day long.
What's your best moment in a car? I'll start with you, Leon.
I don't know. Probably the best win I had was, a friend that we raced with a long time, Terry Golder. That Terry Golder Memorial race up in Ottawa, and Terry was still racing, and I won that event, and there was a couple other guys that did the same thing I did. I think I paid $2,000 to win or whatever, and Terry had a tougher thing going than anybody else did, and I think me and Mike Benson and some other guys, everything we won that night, we donated to Terry. Just a good night.
Yeah, I was going to say, Dan's probably never heard of Terry, but Terry's dad, Jack, was a long-time late model racer, and then his second generation, Terry took up, and he ran sportsman cars and then into late models, and it was cancer, right? Leukemia.
Terry had the Lou Gehrig's disease.
Lou Gehrig's disease, okay. Well, that's where the L come from that was popping into my head. But
what about you? Best moment behind the wheel?
Sunset, when they used to have it's called the Twin 25s. Used to be like a 50 lapper to Winston. I think it was on Labor Day weekend.
I was going to say Labor Day.
Yeah. Then they had a scheduled 2 25-lap features. I won both of those.
Oh, nice.
Then last year at Harlan, going for the championship, had a 3-point lead and won that feature. And the guy that was running second got second too. I mean, the whole family was there watching it. That was real special. There, so.
Okay.
I thought you were going to say that trophy dash at Eagle where I took the picture of you and all the kids.
Yeah, that's my favorite picture. I like that.
Corey, have you had a favorite moment behind the wheel? Big win, just a satisfying win. Maybe you beat one of your family members.
Well, this year I got a few pretty good wins. I got an IMCA Deary win, and I should have had the non-qualifiers deal at Silver Dollar, but got screwed up on the last lap. But
those Deary brother races, that's tough competition.
Yeah. Probably, I don't know. Probably the most satisfying win was the week after I rolled. We'd spent all week fixing the car and went back out, and I was at heat race. I think I finished dead last, like half a straightaway behind. I was, so scared. And then we went out for the feature and started 6th row and just went through there and won the feature.
Sometimes I've seen the best remedy for a bad car is to just give it a good roll.
Man.
I don't know how many guys I've heard have told me that story. Says, yeah, last week I went out, just rolled the car, thought I destroyed it, got it fixed in the week. Okay, I'm going to win tonight. And then kept winning and kept winning. So if you ever get on a low streak, just give that car a good roll. Safe roll. Do the safe roll.
He's rolled every year except for this year, knock on wood. Hopefully it don't happen. But
yeah.
Dale Earnhardt used to bounce him off the wall and say he was fine-tuning it.
Minor adjustment.
Zach, early in your career, but do you have a favorite moment so far? Doesn't necessarily have to be a win, but just a favorite moment in your racing career.
I race at I-80, so people from Eagle used to say I raced there because I'm not no good. I went over there and won 2 weeks in a row.
Oh, really?
And
said you guys must really suck if I'm no good.
Yeah. And I always said, well, every time I race with you guys, I've either beat you, so I don't know who to say who's better, but
yeah.
The real story is his favorite moment is when he wins and get a kiss from his girlfriend.
Yeah. Sure.
Aww. Which
That's
girlfriend?
so sweet.
What's that?
Which girlfriend?
Yeah.
The one that's there that night?
Yeah.
They just line up.
Yeah.
When you're young, you can do that.
The first one's always the best one.
Yeah.
The first one's the hardest one to get. And my first one was in Park Jefferson Speedway, and it was a long time coming. And then after that, they came pretty regular for a while. But now that I'm older, they don't come as often as they used to. I got one this summer. I didn't think I was ever going to get another one, but I got a car right now that's new. It's a good car, but I can't get it working right. I went out in a heat race at Harlan one night. I was so slow, I pulled in. I told my wife, let's go home. She goes, no, you got to get start money. So I changed a couple springs on the car. We went out for the feature, and I says, well, I'm going to go out and start. I'm starting outside pull. When everybody goes by me, I'll pull in. And I said, the next thing you know, I'm taking a white flag and got checker and got a feature win. So,
Wow.
I mean, it just happens.
Didn't you get a win at Denison this year too? I thought I saw.
No, Denison don't run late models no more.
Oh, duh, that's right. I thought I saw you down there for a special or something.
Well, I was there at that Deary Brothers show, but
Yeah.
I don't even know why I went racing that. I was so sick I shouldn't have went. I should have stayed home.
Really?
That was Corey that won that deal.
Oh, okay. All right.
Well, it was a Zeitner, at least. You got that part right.
All right, guys. Appreciate your time. Thanks for letting us sit down and set up and talk a little bit of racing.
Thanks for having us.
Yep.
Thank you.
It was a good time. We'll be back next weekend to continue the front stretch. For Dirk Houston, I'm Dan Taylor. We'll see you next weekend.
If you love wings, if you love rings, and all kinds of other tempting things, great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak and Lube.
Quaker Steak and Lube is the official watering hole for the front stretch and the best place to catch all the NASCAR action today. Open at 11 a.m. with delivery available to Council Bluffs.
Great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak and Lube.
Are you looking to book your next outing? Look no further than Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs. Located just north of Bass Pro Shop, Joe's Karting can handle outings of well over 100 plus people. Bachelor parties, corporate outings, team building, birthday parties, and much more. Give Buddy a call today and reserve your outing. Joe's will even work with local restaurants to cater your event. Book yours today at joeskarting.com. That's karting with a K. It's time to get to Joe's and find out what everyone already knows.